Yes, Mr. Senator.
For example, if someone is convicted in Georgia of simple battery, a law enforcement officer had reasonable suspicion that someone had an unconsented to touching, that's a misdemeanor. But if it left a bruise or a mark, that's a felony. Well, you wouldn't know until you got there, would you?
Correct.
So when you're talking about the curbside stop or the stop and check, how would a law enforcement officer know whether they suspected a felony or a misdemeanor?
I mean, based on those same circumstances, if you arrive, and law enforcement officers do this all the time when they decide what they're arresting people for and what they're charging them with, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you've got a situation where you're going to arrest somebody for simple battery, you know, if there's a bruise, you would arrest them for the felony aggravated battery. And at that point, you would be allowed to check their immigration status.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair can ask Senator from second.
Senator, do you yield?
Yes, Mr. Senator.
Senator, is it not true that I sometimes drive buses for my church?
I believe you know from which you speak. It would not surprise me at all.
Now, Senator, looking at line 289 to 292, if I should drive to a community and offer some residents of a community a ride to my church, and those residents come to my church and we feed them, and they ask that we like this church, we would like to continue to go to this church, but we also need some shelter. Am I breaking the law by providing shelter for these new members of my church?
If they're illegal, and if at that time you're committing another criminal offense, which, knowing the way that you drive, I'm sure you would not be doing.
Do the Senator further yield?
Yes.
Senator, if you also look at line 318 to 319, and it talks about providing services, isn't it also true that if I should provide dental services to a residence in a free dental clinic, would I be breaking the law by providing emergency dental treatment to said individuals?
I believe that if you're providing emergency medical service, that would not be included. But if there was, for example, a day in which you had, there's free dental clinics. I know in rural Georgia sometimes they'll invite folks and they'll do a bunch of, teeth cleanings and other things. And if folks showed up there, then that could be true. There would still have to be that element of someone would be acting in violation of another criminal offense.
Does the Senator yield? Isn't it true, sir, that there are a number of free dental clinics throughout this great state, and I, in my little section of Georgia, am the chairman of a board that has a free dental clinic that operates every Friday. And in that clinic, sir, we do not ask, are you a resident of Georgia? We don't even ask, are you a resident of this United States? We ask, are you in pain? Do I break the law when they say I am and I treat them?
Under the bill, the way this bill reads now, there is certainly a greater risk that you would be violating the law and could be arrested than there would be under my amendment.
Okay. Senator, do you further yield?
Yes, I yield.
Are you familiar with the biblical story of the Good Samaritan?
Yes, raised on it.
And that story of the Good Samaritan, when the Samaritan saw a stranger on the road, did he ask, was he an illegal alien or was he a resident of that community?
No, he did not.
When the Good Samaritan put that stranger on his donkey, was he afraid of the police or was afraid of he might be pulled over before that donkey had a broken tail?
He should not have been. He should not have been.
When that Good Samaritan took that stranger to the hotel and asked the hotel to take care of this stranger, did the hotel say, I'm afraid of harboring this stranger?
The hotel did not say that, and nor should they have to.
Was the hotel afraid that he may be breaking the law?
He should not have been.
Did the Samaritan say, I'll take care of, you take care of him and you feed him and you clothe him and I will pay the bill when I return? Was the Good Samaritan afraid of breaking the law for just doing God's work?
He should not have been.
Sir, would you also agree that there is a higher law, and that is God's law that says we should take care of the disenfranchised.
I do believe that.
There's a law that says we should take care of the least of us.
I believe that too.
And there's also a law that says we should take care of those who cannot take care of themselves.
I believe it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Then, with no further questions, I'll remind everyone the definition of a neighbor on the road to Jericho, and I will yield to Will.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from the 11th is recognized to speak to his amendment. Yeah, we'll do that in a minute.